Hey crafty people, it's Tasha here for Heffy Doodle. Today I'm changing a die cut sentiment into a delicious looking birthday cake using just some alcohol markers. The products I'll be using are the birthday numbers die set, Carnival star backdrop die, happy birthday jumbo sentiment dies, and the lovely little borders die set. Let's start with some buttercream cardstock. Cutting the shadow portion of the sentiment die set, and this colour is going to make the perfect base for my vanilla cake layers. I want to block out my cake layers starting with the jammy centre, so I'm taking a pale pink and splitting my die cut roughly in half. I don't want straight lines because I want it to look a bit more natural and organic. I'm going to use a 3-shade blend for my jam, and I like to start with my lightest shade. Then I'm adding some of my middle shade, outlining the line that I've already marked out, but I'm also adding in some drips and some more irregular edges. Next, I'm using the darkest shade. Then I'll go back down through the shades to blend it all in a little better. This gives our jam a little more dimension. Now I'm working on my cake layers. I've got some shades of marker which fit in well with the colour of the cardstock itself. That means that the cardstock becomes my lightest shade and I don't need to add colour over the entire thing. Work smarter, not harder. I want some shadow to the bottoms of the layers and definitely underneath that jam. And I also want to start making the cake look a little more round. So I'm adding shading to the edges using a flicking motion to blend the shading out into the buttercream colour. Again, I always work through the darkest shade, then back to the lightest to help that blend out. Now I'm opting for an orange icing and just repeating those same steps. If you want to recreate any of these colour blends yourself, you can find all of the colours listed in my supplies list below. I'm cutting the words die from the shadow piece because we're doing one of my favourite die cutting techniques, eclipse. Now all that means is cutting something from a background, having it popped up with the same background in place. So you're going to have the image or pattern continue right across when you're looking at it from front on, but having that die cut popped up on more layers means that you can still see that too. I love that subtle but clever use of dimension. And one of the most important things here is I'm keeping all of those little bits from inside and between the letters. This technique won't work if you lose any of those bits, so I'm sticking them to some Memo Tape to keep them safe. Then I'm adding that word die cut on top of several other layers that I also cut from Buttercream Cardstock. I've also cut another shadow layer, which will be my base to adhere the other pieces onto. All of those little bits get stuck back in place and I'm just using my tool and wand to press them onto that backing piece. Now for some extra detail, I'm adding some white gel pen onto my icing and jam layers. Having those highlights really helps to make it look glossy. Then, to give my cake layers some more texture, I'm just stippling onto a few different areas with my Copic markers. These are just the same ones that I used to shade it in before, but I am using more of the darker shades so that I get some good contrast. Let's work on those candles now. I'm using Cookie Monster Cardstock this time. I love this bright, vibrant blue. The flame is made up of a couple of pieces which you just layer together. And I'm using some ink to add a little depth and shading, but I'm focusing on the bottom of each candle because the flames will be creating a highlight on the top of each one. For the background, I'm going tone on tone with the Carnival backdrop cover die, all in Nina Solar White. I'm popping up my cake sentiment with foam adhesive onto the bottom portion of my card panel. I want to get a clear idea where my candles will sit, and I'm adding some extra details with my gel pens. To help my flames look a bit more special, I'm adding some Stardust gel pen for a glittery finish. Then I'll offset my candles with a darker set to help them pop, and put them straight down onto the panel with liquid glue. I'm making my own embellishments using the stars border from the lovely little Borders die set and some gold mirror cardstock. So I'm adhering the stars around, and then to pick up the blue from the candles, I'm adding some blue gems too. I hope you like the card and that you'll try incorporating a die cut sentiment into your scenes. It's a great way to stretch those supplies and get more from your most loved die sets. If you don't already follow us here at Heffy Doodle, then we'd love to have you join us. Don't forget to like, comment and share this video with your crafty friends. Have a lovely, happy, safe and wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.